Yes.
Hello, hello.
Hi, magical being.
Oh my goodness, Darian, much love to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel it. Much love to you. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you for that intro. You gave me the gangster introduction. She was like, he's a musician. No, no, scratch that. He's a magician.
Magician. Would you also say that you're a musician as well?
Well, I have the flute. That's what I
Oh,
carry
that's
around with me.
right.
Yeah, that's what I enjoy. Playing music. I enjoy radiating peace. I enjoy just infusing myself with that calmness. And it's been a practice for me. It's been a meditation, that form of relaxation, which I know that you're accustomed to going through customs.
Yes, yes. That is so beautiful. It's beautiful to hear more about you because so Jerome and I actually don't know each other that well in this human form yet. We've only met two times, once at Disclosure Fest and then at a house party. And
Yeah.
both times we're just like it's just it feels like we've known each other for a long time type of thing.
And I want to ask you too, Darian, because when you talk about how we don't know each other that well in this human form, in this physical form, I saw on your page that you put that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. You know,
Yes.
when did you
Yes.
feel like when did you feel like you really came into that realization? When did that really spark for you?
I feel like that really sparked for me. Honestly, the first time I ever meditated was like probably the most powerful meditation that I've ever had. And it was just like in that moment, everything just kind of like clicked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I meditated high in a yoga class, and it was the first time that I really experienced God being like within me and through me and for me and just everything. Because before that moment, I always experienced God as like an outer force energy. But there was just a moment where it just clicked, and it was like every single cell in my body is source energy. And every breath that we breathe is like a part of this whole and connection. And just the fact that we're even able to think and talk and have these like very mysterious mystical souls within our human flesh is just I feel like that was when the moment clicked.
Man. And that was in a yoga class,
Yeah,
and you were in your element.
I was this was like when I first started smoking, and they just had like a little meditation in this yoga class, and it was the first time I ever meditated, and I just like tapped in, and I was like, whoa, there's a whole spirit realm. I need to see where else I can go in this world.
And that's interesting because you had that fire with you. You had that fire, and then you are fire. So you have fire within, and then that fire sparked and ignited a new flame.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That can you still hear me?
Yeah.
So that reminds me of a meditation that I just did this past
Okay.
Monday, where I felt and experienced myself like being a water droplet while also feeling the potency of the entire ocean within a drop of water and like feeling into being a grain of sand while also feeling the magnitude of being like the whole rolling hills and deserts.
Vast, vast, expansive.
Vast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
expansive. So can you talk about that? Because I remember hearing from like a poem. I think it was Rumi or someone who said that you are not a drop in the ocean, but you are the ocean in a drop. How did that feel? How does that resonate?
Yeah, it just feels like I feel like it speaks back to being a spirit having a human experience
Okay.
because I feel like we are able to also tap into the essence and energy of ants, lions, like the wind And I feel like it's a good reminder to feel that we are so beyond this life form, and everything that is like tangible or even fathomable is, I feel like, an illusion. And I think that that's, at least for me, that's how I feel like that's when I get into kind of like those zones of like any type of like fear, doubt, or lack or limitations. But then when I tap into that infinite source energy, it's just such a beautiful, comforting sensation of just being so supported and held and a part of source energy.
Okay. What do you feel most connected to, like nature energy? You know, is it when you're out in the forest? Is it when you're at the beach? Is it when you're, you know, when do you feel most connected to the energy in nature?
Hmm. I feel like honestly anytime I'm outside and able to sitting outside, and when I can feel the sun on my face and my skin, and I'm able to even just like people watching. It doesn't even need to necessarily be like in a like on a hike or at the beach. I love just watching my surroundings, like seeing the birds, seeing the cars even drive by. I feel like that's when I feel like the most connected to everything. I love your questions, by the way. Thank you so much.
You reminded me, Darian. You know, there was one time where, and you know, sometimes we go on hikes. California has these hikes, like huge, you know, mountains, you know, mountainous regions. And we were in this one where I was in Riverside with my cousins. And when we were all the way up there on the mountain, we looked down at like the highway below, and the highway had all these cars just running this way, and then there were cars running that way, and it was just hundreds and hundreds of vehicles, right? But from that viewpoint, from that like vantage point looking down, it looked like a river.
Mm.
It looked like a body of water
Oh, that's
moving,
good.
you know? So it was like the energy was flowing this way, and then the energy was flowing that way. And it was like, wow,
Yeah.
there's everywhere you look.
Oh, that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. I love that. And that relates back to like being a droplet in the ocean, because when I'm in traffic, I have to remind myself I am the traffic.
Wow. Wow. When you give yourself those kinds of reminders, does it put it in perspective? You know? When you're
It
amongst the
does.
collective, does it put it back in that perspective?
It definitely does. Definitely does. And that's why I love just being surrounded by like community and friends. I feel like I'm a very people oriented type of person.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
just like having these conversations with you and being able to like bounce off this energy. I feel like that's everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same, you know. I'm a Leo rising, you know.
Eh.
We rising, right?
Yes.
So my Leo is rising, so you know, I feel that energy as well when I'm around others, and I always find you so personable. Like that one time we were at the what was it? The Juice Luck or the Juice Bag? We
Juice
called it a
bag.
Juice Bag.
Yes.
Yeah, not the kickback. It was the Juice Bag. Yeah, and you know, you were just chilling. You were just in your element once again, but very approachable. And then also, we just allowed that energy to expand. And then everybody, all the new energy that came in the room, they all benefited from the vibration that you had already set by being in that location. So, yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And you have a very special and defined energy as well. Like right when you walked in, you can just it's really, I feel like that is such a um, physical manifestation of how energy and frequencies work, is just by one person coming into a room can change the entire vibration of the atmosphere. And you definitely did that.
Wow. You know, Darian, earlier you talked about being connected to Source. And I want to ask you because I was raised in the church. So I was raised Christian on my dad's side and then Seventh Day Adventist on my mom's side. And there was never any talk about source energy, the universe. Like, they never used these words, you know, when I came up.
Yeah.
So did you always use those words coming up, or did you learn different things as you went on your journey?
I definitely learned different things in my journey. I was also raised Christian,
Okay.
and um, my parents are still very Christian.
Yeah.
So I use source mainly because I feel like it's all encompassing. I feel like it's a word that it's undeniable. You know, everybody has kind of their different labels for how they experience our creator, but ultimately we are all plugged into the source energy because like this air that we're breathing is the source energy. We have no control really over the breath. Like even if we try to hold it, like source is like, no, you are going to breathe right now because I am the source flowing through you. I also interchange it with love, capital L.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I want
like
to ask
love
you a
energy.
question. So how do you relate to source energy, and was there any type of transition that you had from being raised Christian to now?
Yes, there were definitely transitions. There've been many transitions, and I feel like we're still going
Yeah.
through even more transitions. Kind of like from the caterpillar to the cocoon to the butterfly. There's like a chrysalis effect when we go through our own motions and metamorphosis. You know, so for
Mm-hmm.
me, that transition has been one of ambition. It's been one of, you know, fruition. It's been one that like I'm like planting seeds, and then seeds are being planted in me, and then I just water those seeds, and then we see beautiful trees. So it's like,
Right.
yeah. So one of those seeds, kind of like how you've been tasking everybody for the 7 Day Vegan Challenge, right? I remember watching
Yes.
Ralph Smart, you know, Infinite Waters, diving deep
That's
once
exactly
again.
who I got it from. Yes.
Yeah, you know, like I was, you know, that was part of my transition, you know, to hear another being speaking about this and talking about this really passionate and purposeful, you know, purpose driven, and then telling people that peace begins on your plate, right? He's talking about,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, if you feel like vegan options are expensive, do you know the price of a heart attack? Deep divers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I remember when I heard him say this stuff. And so it planted seeds, you know,
Mm-hmm.
those were like planting seeds. So now you're doing the same thing for others. So that was one of the,
Oh.
yeah, yeah, seriously, seriously, yeah,
Wow, that is
yeah.
such a full circle moment. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
So are you plant-based vegan now?
So actually, at the moment, I live a liquid lifestyle, and so I'm
Oh.
interested in like chronic living, liquidarianism, and breatharianism. Those are things that I ventured into when I learned more about fasting and air feasting, chronic living, chronic nourishment, and just deriving nourishment from other forms. You know, from other
Yeah.
forms that weren't necessarily coming from food, because I was a big foodie. You know, I still am at heart. You know, I still am, but it's been through
Yeah.
many different transitions. So thank you for the question. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Breatharian liquid diet. That's very interesting to me. Maybe I'll try that out when on August 1st when everyone else is doing the 7 Day Vegan Challenge. I'll try this one out. I want to ask you, have you tried or is it part of your practice to drink your urine?
Yeah, so urine therapy, that actually came to me back in January and February of 2020. So I've been a practitioner of urine therapy since 2020, February of that year.
Oh
And
my God.
that was one of the most transformational. I mean, I don't advertise it. I don't market it as much as my constituents, you know, as much as my partners in the circle of life.
Yeah.
Some people, a lot of people are braver than I when it comes to sharing that part of them,
Mm-hmm.
but I will definitely say it was one of the most profound, one of the most purging, and you can just feel it percolating through your body. You know, it's you, it's your essence. You
Yeah,
know, it's
right.
I could talk about it for hours. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm really curious about it. I'm not opposed to it, although it definitely challenges my mindset. But
Heavy.
I'm curious to know, like, the first time you drank your like own liquids like that, like, how was that mentally for you?
Oh my goodness. Ah man, see now we're getting into this. We're getting in, y'all. We're getting in. All right. So it was everything, you know. So mentally, I had to break down and deconstruct all the ideas therein. You know, how do you kill an idea, right?
Right.
How do you kill an idea? How do you kill a thought process? How do you kill a program? How do you kill a belief system? Like Ralph Smart, going back to Infinite Waters, he talked about it's all BS, you know?
Right.
Belief
Right.
systems,
Yes. Belief
right?
systems. Yes.
It's all BS. So what is the BS that you want to be governed by? Because if you're not programming yourself, someone else or something else is programming you. You know, by default, you're being programmed. You know, we're like human bio machines, like biocomputers in that way, where there's an algorithm, and it will, you know, whatever you're looking for, you will find it. You know, just like YouTube has all those suggested videos, and it's gonna keep showing you the things that you like, the things that you click on. Slowly but surely, you're gonna be shown to this by the algorithm. So, as I was traversing down the deep interwebs of YouTube and other social media sites, it suggested to me this video. Monica Shuett. Shout out to Monica Shuett. She's a veteran in the game. She was doing an interview where she was talking about orantherapy and consuming her own waters. You know, like there's a passage in the Bible that says, drinking waters from your own cistern, you know, and taking waters from thine own well, you know. And there's so many things that are up to interpretation, of course, like esoteric knowledge. But when I started becoming that Ouroboros, you know, the snake eating its own tail, being fueled by its own energy, I started consuming my own waters after watching this interview of this lady who was exuberant, who was vibrant, who had all this energy, and she had this love for life, this love for living, and you could feel it oozing from her, Darian. Like it was just, her cup runneth over. You know, she couldn't contain it. She couldn't hold all that love in. And I was just struck. You know, my heart was struck. It really plucked the string. And I was like, okay, I need to find out more about this. Like, whatever she's on, I want some of that. And then when I realized what she was talking about, I said, wait a minute. Okay, is she saying what I think she's saying? You know?
She's saying she drank her pee?
Yeah, like, wait a minute. So drinking me? Like, drink myself? Wait a minute. For my health? It's a health message? Drink myself for health? And so then that's when I started to venture down that valley of the zone of the unknown, because we fear the things that we don't understand.
Right.
You know? So breaking through that barrier in my mind, it took time, because we have all these stigmas surrounding what we think urine is, what we feel like our waters, that we feel like it's a waste. We feel like, oh, it's filthy. Don't get it on your hands, nasty. And so even with TV, with movies, with all the jokes and all the, you know, the comedians and stuff, all those layers and layers and layers, what I started to do was I filled up a bottle, and then I would go into, you know, a restroom on the side street. And so I told myself repetitively over and over in my subconscious, mineral water, mineral water, mineral water, because they said that it had all these vitamins, minerals, and nutrients and things that, you know, we naturally, it's like the most ultra filtered. So the medical term is plasma ultrafiltrate. So we usually think that our water, or what comes out the front, the channel of conception, you know, why would the semen, why would the life force, the vital fluid, why would that come out the same channel as something filthy, as a waste product? Why would life that gives, you know, life, that makes life, why would that come out the same channel as something filthy, as a waste product? So I started to ask myself those questions, and then went down the rabbit hole. You know, I was like Neo in the Matrix. I was looking for the answers. You know, Trinity, help! You know, so it was teaching me that not everything is as it seems. Yeah. And when I kept saying, you know, okay, it's not a waste product. It's not a product of waste filtration. It's a product of blood filtration. It's like
Mm.
the blood plasma. It's plasma ultrafiltrate. That's the medical term. So they know this, but they're not teaching this. This is not the knowledge that we learned in college. So I was like,
Right.
okay, what do I do with this information? So I decided to, as I was doing the research, like we fire signs, we Leos, you know, while most people are thinking about it or talking about it, we just do it. We just do it, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I went and I just did it. And as soon as I did it, Darian, my body started purging. I'm talking about flushing all the everything that was not me started to come out of my body. So I just was taking trips to the bathroom, trips to the bathroom, trips to the bathroom, like going in and out the restroom, and my body just started to get rid of all the sediment, all the you know, everything just started to come out, and then it got clearer and clearer and clearer,
Uh-huh.
and it got more purified, more crystalline. It got the aroma changed. There was no
Yeah.
odor. The
Uh-huh.
taste changed. It was like coconut water after a while because I was just drinking juice and coconut water.
Uh-huh.
And then even the color changed. It became clear to the point where eventually, months later, I could sit at a table with friends and family and I could have it in a wine glass. And they wouldn't know the difference. They thought it was water or like
No way.
Moscato or something. They wouldn't know they never asked me, like, what are you drinking? It's just water, right?
Oh
so
my gosh.
so it blew my mind. So yeah, that's why I tell people, you know, find out for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. You know,
Mhm.
do your own research. I did a lot of research, and I found out through, you know, my own self experience what can happen, the level of energy that can come back into the body that you can actually release when you release. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So thank
Wow.
you for
That's
the question. I
powerful.
appreciate it. I appreciate
Thank you so much for sharing. That
it. Yeah.
is that's some golden knowledge right there. Or clear knowledge now it sounds like.
And they call it that too. There's you know,
Really?
there's many books on the subject. So the golden elixir, I know in the UK they don't call it, or they call it the elixir. So the elixir of life, the fountain of youth, the golden waters,
Mm.
you know. So yeah, there's just a lot, you know, and it's really interesting how it's kind of resurfacing. But many people don't know that millions. I mean, they say how many billions of people there are on this plane, but millions upon millions of people practice this every day. You know, I'm talking
Wow.
millions and millions of Chinese, millions of, you know, Indian folk. In Hindu traditions, it's even called Shivambu. Shivambu, it has a name in the Indian culture. So, yeah, it goes back.
Wow. I'm definitely curious about it. You're really inspiring me. So, for anybody that is also curious about trying this, what type of tips would you give?
Oh, man.
Like,
Oh,
would
man.
you start out? Yeah,
Well,
yeah. What's the rundown?
so sometimes for some people it's going to be different, you know. It's different for everybody because everybody is different,
Yeah.
you know. So for some people it would be the mental reprogramming of just the whole stigma surrounding the practice, understanding
Mm-hmm.
that this is something for you, this is you, it comes from you, it's of you,
Mm.
but it's the most filtered water that you can get around. Like, I actually would rather consume my own waters than alkaline water, spring water, you know, bottled water, any other water you can think of. And it became a whole deal. Like, I was in a relationship, full disclosure, a couple of years ago, and we were together. We were practicing together. So it became part of, you know, our findings in the relationship to learn and grow. As she actually was the manager of a day spa, and so she, through Oran Therapy, gave up all of her products. Like, she gave up the conditioner, the shampoo, she used her own water. The makeup, all the stuff, she used her own water. She started giving up the toner, the cleanser, the whatever it is like that she was using. It became, if she replaced it with her own water, and it did the same thing, if not better, you
Wow.
know. So she found her skin, you know, was restored. So many things were restored. She had the shine, she had a glow, and yeah, it follows you wherever you go because you generate
Wow.
it. I mean, it's coming
So,
from your
but I
body.
imagine that there'd be like some type of time period of adjustment, like you were saying, for it to be
Heck yeah!
beneficial.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Like, because I'm thinking like if
Yeah,
I were to just do this right now,
yeah.
I feel like it wouldn't be as potent. Because
Well,
I do feel like my mindset right now, you're changing it as second by second, but I do feel like it's some since we release it, it seems like it's like a weight, like a toxins, like releasing toxins.
it seems
You
like
know,
that.
almost like
So
sweat.
yeah, it does seem that way. You know, the way that I think now is the things that come out the back. So we don't look back, but whatever comes out the front,
Ah.
whatever comes out the front is good. It's good for you. You know, the body is producing it. You can loop it back. You can recycle your own waters. And the more and more that you do it, you'll start to see the results. You'll start to see the effects, and it'll be natural. You know, at first, there is definitely a period of detoxification that happens, and it happens on all levels.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, they're not going to even want to ingest it because of what they're already ingesting. Someone once told me, if you know, if you feel that what you're putting into your body now, you know, what you're consuming is good, then why wouldn't you loop it again? Like, why would you think what
Mm-hmm.
is bad? Like, why would you think
Mm-hmm.
your water is bad if that is the purified form of what you've consumed? So what you start to discover is if you're in a diet of like a lot of, okay, like anything that you intake, like if it's very salty, if it's very sugary, if it's very sweet, you're going to taste it in your water. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna kind of have a hint of that quality.
Mm-hmm.
Versus something that is more neutral or something that is just, you know, just water,
Yeah.
then it's gonna taste more, you know, like that. And so eventually it got to that point where it was like, oh wow, actually I don't even need to go for that. Why don't I just have this? You know? So
Wow.
there's a period for everybody that they go through, um, and this can go down many avenues, many channels. But I'd say the most important part, because the body usually follows the mind, is to do your research, to have that mental reprogramming to understand that, wow, this is a viable way. And it's a tool. It's not
Mm-hmm.
essential. You know, I'm not saying that people need to do this, you have to do this, you must start doing this. It's not like that. I'm saying it's a tool. You know, you
Yeah.
can use it, you can pick it up, you can put it down. It can serve you, it can help you, or you don't have to have it. You know, you don't have to use it. It's really all up to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to try it. I'm gonna definitely try it. Yeah.
You let us know. You let us know
Yeah. I'm
how.
gonna meditate on it more, but it feels in resonance, and I feel like yeah, I definitely would love to experience that because it all comes back down to source energy, and I like the concept of it. It's very interesting. So then, what do you think about like consuming blood then?
Now that I've heard, you know, there's different rituals, almost like blood magic or like moon rituals or moon cycles. So since I'm not in that feminine realm when it comes to the cycle, I've heard of them doing, you know, I've heard of y'all doing a lot with when it comes to your blood, you know, when it comes to that time. And I've heard that that can be healing as well, too, you know, taking that and doing different things with it. But I'm not in that realm, so I can't really speak on that. I can't really speak on that. But I will say that your water is technically your blood. It's plasma ultra filtrate. It's ultra filtered blood plasma, you know? So that is you. You know, what we view as a waste, what we view as it's you. So if your urine is dirty, your blood is dirty. If your urine is filthy, your blood is filthy. It's showing you what's going on internally. It's like the most perfect and instant biofeedback for what's going on in your body. You know, it's letting you know clear as day. Right. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. This is mind-blowing right now. Like,
But once
feeling
again,
the different neurons connecting in my brain, like, whoa.
once again, don't take my word, right? You know, find out for yourself and come back.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Oh man, I had no idea you were gonna take it here. No idea. You surprised me today. You surprised me.
I know. I was
today,
thinking,
Dave.
like, I wonder what we're gonna talk about, but I don't think anything could have really prepared us for this. This is exactly what we're meant to talk about.
But it was right. It was right on time. You're helping me. You're assisting me to get out my shell when it comes to talking about these things because, like I said, I've been practicing it for over 2 years now, and a lot of people don't know, and especially my family members. They'd rather hear about me not eating or drinking than me consuming my own waters. They're more accepting to the fasting lifestyle of just chronic nourishment than it is to consume myself. So I've just kind of been leaving that like, okay, let me just have that right here, but I'm not putting it right there. So.
Well, thank you so much for being open to talking about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like you talk about it with such enthusiasm and confidence. I would think that you were like a huge advocate for this. You talk about it all the time.
I am a huge advocate, and I have many friends now that are huge advocates as well. But like I say, they're a little braver than me when it comes to being so outspoken. Because I've seen how people just misunderstand. The world, a lot more people than we realize. But it's like, it's less than we know. Even when you talk about industries where, behind closed doors, people will tell me that actors and actresses, people in the theater, people in, the acting realm, people in show business and people in Hollywood, they know about this. When you look at different beauty products and it has that ingredient, urea or something, like, what is that ingredient? Where are they getting that from, right? And they know this. Actors, actresses, and people have told me in the industry, they know it, but they use it for vain reasons. They use it to beautify themselves. They use their own waters to beautify themselves because they know what it does for the skin. They know what it gives them. They know what it does. They don't consume it, on that level, but they do know it topically. They apply it to their body.
Wow.
But it's like a hush hush. It's like, don't tell anybody, like, I know this thing that can help, I know this thing. Then there's other cultures that, South African, Indian people, in South America even, will talk about their family members doing that. And they always wondered, like, why my grandma used to do this, or my grandfather used to do this. And I always wondered, like, why did they used to do that? Or I heard from a lady in Australia when she used to get a sting, or if they said a stingray stung you, or if you got a bruise or a cut, they would tell you to pee on it or something like that.
That is so true.
Right?
Right. So it's an old tradition. That's interesting. I think that was the first time I heard about it was like, oh, if you get a stingray, pee on it. Or like if you burn your hands with jalapeno, pee on it.
Right.
But the first time I saw anybody drinking it was in that movie. It was like 247 Hours or something.
Okay.
Remember that movie?
No, I don't.
Where the guy, it's basically about this man that's like rock climbing solo, and he gets wedged in between these boulders.
Okay.
And he has to drink his pee. And I just, and the scene was so dramatic, and I was just like, oh gosh, like, how could anybody ever do that? It just must taste so bad. And wow, but to hear about it, and then I've heard of a breatharian that also drinks their pee. That's why I asked you,
right.
because I'm like, oh, okay, you have to know about this if you're on the liquid diet and breatharian. But it's next level.
Yeah. So great point that you made there, Darian. The 200 or whatever days that they were trapped. Sometimes we make profound changes or leaps, beyond the realm of our reality, beyond the barrier of our belief, due to inspiration or desperation.
That's a quote right there. You need to write that one down.
So sometimes, we either have to be desperate or we have to be inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it was a mixture of both at the time. It was a mixture of needing a change, being unfulfilled with my life, feeling that level of dissatisfaction. But I was also inspired. I had somebody who was kind of showing me the way. You know, they kind of were like a trailblazer in a way, doing something that I thought was very esoteric, you know, very interesting. So I had a mixture of those two, and it allowed for that exploration into my own, you know, level of divination. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Master that.
Yeah. So thank you for this conversation. This is so nourishing. You know, I'm like, ah, man, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is definitely giving me everything that I feel like, everything I feel like I needed in this moment, and it also feels very nourishing as well, and very informational.
Wow. You know, can you talk about how, when it comes to the combination of having your marijuana meditations, because I don't know if we've ever really gotten deep, you and I, on when you combine the two and how that was a game changer for not only yourself, but how you've seen the growth through other people, you know, through this practice, by bringing those two worlds together. I would just love to hear more about your passion and what just continues to keep you going on this.
Thank you so much for asking that. So when I first started smoking, so in college I was introduced to cannabis, and I didn't like it. I felt like it made me tired. I would get like anxiety that I was going to get caught. And then I was reintroduced to it in a better setting. And even then I still had like a bit of fear surrounding it and discomfort. While I enjoyed the sensation of being high, there was like a little bit of a disconnect. And then when I went to that yoga class high, that was the first time that I was really able to settle into the high and to feel safe within my body and in the energy that was within and around me. And prior to that, I had never tried meditating before, but I would try to tell my friends, like, I experienced this, like, the best high I've ever had by just, like, quieting my mind, going to my breath, going into my mind. And I just started creating guided meditations with my friends after we would smoke. And so it really became full circle for me when I noticed that when I would talk to people about meditating, a lot of times they would say that they can't meditate because their mind is going all da-da-da-da. Or when I would talk to people about smoking, they'd be like, oh, I can't smoke because I get anxiety. But combining those two aspects, I feel like really eliminates a lot of the negative associations with them, because when you smoke and meditate, it alleviates the anxiety and really allows for you to experience and feel like the positive benefits that cannabis has to offer. And then when you smoke before meditating, it helps to quiet the mind and really just like focus in and hone in on your intention and just like the feeling of being alive. Like, yes. And so I've seen it be really beneficial for people when they're having anxiety attacks and just going into it, smoking and meditating. I've seen it really be a benefit in my life when I'm having any type of like disillusion going on. I'll smoke and meditate, and I feel like it just really taps me in, of course, and I'm able to just like communicate in that frequency and just to feel the love and to be reminded.
Yeah, we all need that reminder, you know? And how transformational is that? You know, to be able to blend the best of both worlds, to have the positive without the negative, you know?
Yes.
To have that direction without the drawbacks, you know? To allow somebody to feel that and receive that on that level is so powerful, because like you said, they're not doing this because they feel like they can't do this. They're not doing that because they feel like that disturbs them. But when you bring them together, that's the yin and the yang, right? The light and the dark, you know, the balance. I love it. That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
What is your cannabis and meditation relationship like right now?
So I don't have a relationship with cannabis at the moment. I used to. There was a time when I did. But my meditation is daily. So one of the forms of meditation I use is actually my flute. So a lot of breath work with that one, and a lot of deep breath work. And it puts me in a state to where I feel like all is well. You know, out of this situation, only good can come. I am safe. Like you said, feeling safe in your body. You know, Darian, that's priceless. You can't put a price on that.
Yes.
You know, how much is a good night's sleep worth? How much is your peace worth? One of my good friends, they told me, Darian, they said, anything that costs you your peace is too expensive.
Ooh. That one hits.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I started looking at everything like, is this costing me my peace? Is that costing me my peace? It's too expensive. I can do without it, right? You know, I'd rather have my peace of mind. So thank you for bringing it back to that, because these are things that, and tools that we can always utilize. They're always there. You know, we can have it in abundance. It can make us feel abundant.
Yeah. Ooh, that's so good. Do you have your flute with you?
I do. Yeah.
Would you be able to honor us by playing some of your amazing flute?
Oh man. Would you be able to hear? Is the connection okay for you to hear it?
It is.
Okay, let me see here. Oh, she's putting me on the spot. I love it. Just like a Leo do. Oh, man. A Leo through and through. She that fire. Hold on now.
By the way, I love how often you say my name. It's so personable.
Say again?
I love how often you address me by my name. It feels very personable.
Well, yeah. You know, that's, I have to respect it. That's how you address yourself. We should address you. You know?
Thank you. Thank you. Whenever I think of your name, I think it's a Kanye song. It's like Jerome's in the house, watch your mouth.
Yeah, we used to watch Martin. Yeah, we used to watch Martin Lawrence with Jerome. You remember Martin?
Yes.
The player from the Himalaya. Okay. All right. So I got to bring my breath down, because when my heart rate is up, the sound doesn't come right. A lady told me the other day, Darian, about the flute. And in her Hindu tradition, she talks about Krishna, you know, Krishna consciousness, kind of like in the Bhagavad Gita. But she said that Krishna was always playing the flute, and that people would gather, and that the flute kind of symbolizes being empty inside, you know, because since the flute is empty inside, due to its emptiness, it can play that beautiful music, you know. So emptying our mind of all those illusions, like you said before, when we empty ourselves, what is the music that we can play? What is the vibration of the day? You know?
Yes.
So thank you for listening.
Thank
And
you
I
for
trust
sharing.
that you'll be able to hear some of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. That very transcending. It's very transcending.
Oh, so, you know, the energy is never ending.
Yes.
We're always transcending.
Mm.
You know, so it can be mind bending.
Yes. Wow. The power of frequencies, powerful. And I'm curious to know the level or numeric reference of the frequency of the flute in relation to the vibration of our bodies. Because I feel like the moment you started playing, it was like bells were just like speaking the harmonization. And then the longer you played, it just felt like my body was able to really like balance and settle into just like the beauty and frequency of it.
Wow. Wow. You know, that means so much. Because like they say, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You know, you've heard this, Darian, like the rainbow is in the eye and not in the sky.
Ooh, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
That's
like
a good one.
When there's harmony inside, you see harmony outside.
Yeah.
So by you being able to receive that breath and share that breath, because we're sharing this breath together, it's the breath of life. So just gratitude.
I'm so grateful that we're able to have these high vibration over Instagram, and that it can still feel just as
Yeah, you can project peace on any platform.
You're a poet.
You know it.
Wow, I love it.
Man.
So you're going to be performing at Love Long Beach this Sunday as well, right?
How did you know that?
So I briefly saw something about that. Can you tell me more about what you'll be doing there?
Well, yeah, because you're putting on your guided meditation, right?
Yes.
And I know Brother Sunrise is doing his trap cheat.
Yes, yes.
So we're going to be with the Soul family.
Yeah. Are you going to be playing the flute or doing some magic?
Doing it all? The magic is for more intimate spaces.
Oh, okay.
More close places. And for kindred faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, kindred spirits. That was something that is a hobby of mine. I just enjoy the wow factor of that. But I also enjoy how it teaches us about our perception and the things the things we pay attention to and the things that we do not.
Yeah.
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 So
yeah.
That's always fascinated me when it comes to magic and performance. And life always has lessons to teach us, even in the people who reach us. So thank you for asking me that. I will be bringing the flute with me. It's always with me wherever I go, so you already know.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Well, I look forward to being able to give you a big hug.
Oh, man.
And
yeah.
being able to see you in the physical realm.
And you got some stuff coming up too, right? Like August 5th. What is the thing coming up on August?
Yeah, so I'm going to Atlanta to be a part of Dharma Glow. And I'm so excited for that. So Landrell, Lazucha, Koya Webb, they'll be the headliners. And I'll be also performing with some amazing amazing artists, and yeah, it's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be a very transformational moment.
We're excited for you, Darian. You know, we're here with you. We're here for it. We're here together. You know, we're beside you. We got your back. And then also, when it comes to the things that you're putting out and you're seeing boomerang back to you, what do you feel like you're breathing life into this year?
Wait, can you repeat that last part?
What do you feel like you are breathing life into this year? You know?
What am I breathing life into this year?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm breathing life into stability within my growth, and to really like simultaneously root into my foundation, feel really like strong in my foundation, while also being able to, while allowing for that to be a space for me to like feel comfortable and safe to continue to grow and flourish.
Okay, so a continuation of this foundation.
Continuation, solidification, enhancement.
When you say stability within your growth, what do you feel like that looks like for you?
So right now I'm in the process of moving to LA into probably like Bridge area. So to me that looks like being in a really beautiful, comfortable, right home with amazing energy, and also being able to have like a steady flow of resources.
Yes. Yeah.
Reliability.
Yes. Resources and reliability. We're here for it, you know. And not for lack of resources, because you have all the resourcefulness. You know? You are resourceful. You yourself are resourceful, so you're a powerful manifester, you know? It's all coming into being right now. As you spoke it, I could see it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for asking that question. Because in this transition, there's been a lot of like things that have been trying to test my energy as far as that goes. And I feel like when we make big moves within this reality, we are confronted with our decision to be able to stay in the highest frequency and belief and trust. So that's really been challenging me recently, and I really appreciate you seeing my passion and manifestations come into fruition.
And you know, one thing that I love as well, Darian, your verbiage, you know, your wordage, your spectacular vernacular, you know, the way that you utilize intentional language, it speaks volumes. Because you could have said, my problem, right? You could have said, my stumbling block, my setback. What did you say? You said, my challenge.
Challenge accepted.
You hear me?
Yeah.
You said, my challenge, you know? The energy coming from my challenge is challenge accepted.
Yes.
Challenge accepted. You know? So you are up for the challenge, you are up for the task. There is nothing that cannot be done. Especially if you have the will to support it, which you do in abundance, you know? So, wow. I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, where this transforms.
Yes, me too. Thank you so much. And thank you for acknowledging my vernacular. I really appreciate that. It's definitely been something that I've been aware of for a while. So I appreciate you receiving it and also being on the wavelength to resonate with it, because you have a very high vibrational vocabulary as well. And I feel like speaking high vibrational words is really kind of like the essence of our life. A lot of times I think about if every word that I were to say were to be written in my book of life, what type of character would it create? And if I'm able to speak only high vibrational words, I feel that that is the frequency that I am able to emit, because that's the only thing coming out and through me.
Yes. Yes. Like when you spoke yourself on that stage, I mean, do you remember when you being on stage in front of an audience, in front of people, administering a healing sound bath in a crowd? Do you remember when that was just a thought or an idea? Do you remember when you spoke those words or wrote those words down? I don't know how you did it, but you did it. You know?
Right? Yes. Yes. It's so interesting to see how it just all comes together, because a lot of what is going on in my life right now is what I have been writing down and manifesting for a long time. So to actually be living it out, it makes me feel kind of emotional in the best way.
In the best way. You know? And these are the things that people need to hear. You know, they need to hear your voice. They need to hear you speaking these things, because when it comes to manifestation and raising our vibration, we often think that, you know, like they say, the day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit, right?
Yeah.
It's not the same day, but
Yeah.
you've done this. They might see your success, or might see the things that have been sprouting, blossoming, and blooming, and they'll think that it was overnight.
Mm-hmm.
But it was over many nights.
Yes.
You know, this was a process. Just like everything, it was a process. So in that continual progress, it's like to understand that it was always in the making. We're always in the making. Everything is shaking. So, oh man, that's really inspiring for a person to understand that they might see your glory, but they don't know your story until you share. And sharing is caring, you know. So thank you for caring to share the times when you wrote down in your journal, I am this, I am that, you know. Intention, action, manifestation. Speaking those words of life and affirmation over yourself, and now you're seeing everything that you spoke and speaking new things. We keep going. We keep growing. Yeah.
My heart. I feel like it's growing. Like, whew, wow.
Speaking of growing, you said that, you know, before we go, I love what you said earlier, Darian. When you were asking people how old you are, you were like, how old do y'all think I am?
Yeah.
Somebody told me I'm like 16. You're like,
13.
13? Ah!
I know.
13. Oh, man. Did you, and you attribute it to your lifestyle, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we're definitely infinite beings.
Yeah.
Infinite beings for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of times we can see young people having old souls and old people having very young spirits. And I think that something I've been thinking about a lot recently is how there's no one timeline. You know, like there's so many different and dimensional timelines going every which way. And I feel like different cultures have different sets of timelines that they kind of like sway people into following. But it's so important to remember that we are all on our divine and personal timeline.
Yes.
Because while I'm about to be 26, I am like 130, honey.
You've been here a long time. I love it. I love it. Yeah, you know, because what is your definition of youth? What does youth even mean? I feel like youth is a quality of being.
Mm-hmm. Yes, youth is a quality of being. I feel like youth speaks to newness, but I really enjoy breaking down words and finding the meanings within the letters, because there's the word you, in youth.
Mhm.
So I feel like it speaks to the newness of self.
Wow. No one's ever said that before. I've never heard that before. Youth is the newness of you. The newness of self is you.
Yes.
And we can be new in every moment. We can be youthful in every breath.
Yes.
Come on, somebody. Come on, she brought it home for us. She brought it home.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my goodness. This conversation is sending me so through just everywhere. Everywhere.
Right. Well, let it permeate your day. Keep creating, and we will stay tuned. We'll keep
Yes.
that instrument in harmony.
I would love to do this again.
Yes, we'll do a part 2, of course.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
There's
I'll
much
see
more.
you on Sunday.
All right. See you soon. See you
Get
soon.
ready for the big hug.
I'm ready already. I'm ready like Freddie.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for your time and sharing this space with me, Jerome. I really appreciate you.
And thank you for getting me out my comfort zone. I needed that. And she did it through the phone, y'all. She did it through the phone. She got Jerome out his comfort zone. I love it.
Jerome in the house.
Watch him out.
Hey, always. Always.
I'm from the South.
Oh my goodness. You're great. You're
All
great.
right.
All right. Blessings to you. See you soon.
All right. Take care.